but it's the tariffs, right? We still have 145% tariffs on China.
is it-
Your Treasury Secretary said we basically have an embargo on China.
Look, you're
And
trying
that-
to say something's going to happen,
No,
Terry.
no, okay, well,
nothing's going to happen.
You know business. I
Terry,
want to ask you.
Terry, I do know business.
Yes,
and
so 145% tariffs on China, and that is
That's good.
basically
That's
an
good.
embargo.
They deserve it.
It'll raise prices on
They
everything
deserve
from
it.
electronics to clothing to building houses.
You don't know that. You don't know whether or not China's going
That's
to eat
mathematics.
it. China probably will eat those tariffs, but at 145, they basically can't do much business with the United States. And they were making from us $1 trillion a year. They were ripping us off like nobody's ever ripped us off. And by the way, we have other countries that were just as bad. If you look at the European Union, it was terrible what they've done to us. Every country, almost every country in the world was ripping us off. They're not doing that anymore.
And President Trump says he's spoken with Chinese President Xi Jinping, quote, numerous times on tariffs, but he was vague about if he's spoken with him since the trade war broke out. Beijing has denied any negotiations are currently underway and have called for abolishing unilateral tariffs.
Who is going to have to pay for these policies?
I will take this since I just got off the phone with the president about Amazon's announcement. This is a hostile and political act by Amazon. Why didn't Amazon do this when the Biden administration hiked inflation to the highest level in 40 years? And I would also add that it's not a surprise because, as Reuters recently wrote, Amazon has partnered with a Chinese propaganda arm. So this is another reason why Americans should buy American. It's another reason why we are onshoring critical supply chains here at home to shore up our own critical supply chain and boost our own manufacturing.
The online retailer in the world will soon display the additional cost of President Trump's tariffs on each product. This according to a new report from Punchbowl News. The report comes as the administration touts Trump's first 100 days in office, celebrating what it sees as his accomplishments during his first few months in office. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt bashed the report on Amazon's tariff pricing plan this morning, even suggesting the company has ties to China.
What an enormous price our nations paid for the victory over Nazism. The colossal sacrifices that were made, disguising attempts at world domination or intervention in domestic affairs of independent countries. There is no doubt that Russia, Belarus and other countries will forever remember the lessons of that war. The most important of them being that we have to do everything we all know very well. What an enormous price our nations paid for the victory over Nazism. The colossal sacrifices that were made to that effect. There is no doubt that Russia, Belarus and other countries will forever remember the lessons of that war. The most important of them being that we have to do everything to combat the proliferation of Nazism.
asking asking you about the meeting that you had in the Oval Office. How do you feel that you could have handled things better with the president and vice president?
The meeting in the Oval Office, it did not help Ukraine.
Spent nearly $200 billion to the defense of Ukraine. There are lots of questions about where the money is going.
There's nothing to hide. We're absolutely open.
Would an audit be possible by the United States of where those dollars are going?
We are kind of the living shield against Russia's invasion to the civilized world.
I want to get to Russia's intentions and the possibilities of a ceasefire. Americans have questions about things that are happening.